how to retain top talent in your organization. This is brought to you by America Achieves and the Collective Impact Talent Initiative. America Achieves is a national nonprofit organization founded in 2011 to strengthen democracy by building educational bridges to the middle class and reestablishing the link between work and opportunity. In early 2023, America Achieves selected LER Consultants and Advisors and DGW Consulting Group to participate in a philanthropically funded National Talent Pipeline pilot project known as the Collective Talent Initiative. The Collective Talent Initiative builds upon America Achieves' work with equity-centered economic growth and workforce regional coalitions through the Commerce Department's Build Back Better Challenge and Good Jobs Challenge, both of which were part of the Biden administration's America Rescue Plan. The Collective Impact Talent Initiative provides inclusive, place-based regional coalitions from across the country, including from places like upstate New York and Central Valley, California, to Virginia and Texas, among others, with individualized and capacity building support to source, recruit, and hire the key diverse talent needed to drive regional coalitions, initiatives, and bold visions of equity-centered economic growth and workforce development. The Collective Impact Talent Initiative is grounded in the belief that coalitions and their work are only as good as their teams and people. So let's tell you a little bit about us. LER Consultants and Advisors was founded by myself, Leslie Esters Redwine, in 2018 and has provided executive search and talent development services, interim executive support, and executive coaching to a myriad of organizations across the country, including nonprofits and schools. Based in Michigan, Leslie is an attorney, and I've served as an executive leader for over 20 years. I've earned my BA from the University of Michigan, JD from Detroit Mercy Law, and MPA from Baruch College's Marx School of Public and International Affairs. My colleague working on this project with me is Deronda Williams, and she founded DGW Consulting Group in 2012 and has provided talent and search services focusing on C-level finance and operations roles for an array of organizations in the education, racial and social justice, and philanthropic sectors. Based in Nevada, Deronda has over 20 years of executive experience across multiple industries. Deronda has a BS in industrial engineering from Northwestern University and an MBA in finance from the University of Chicago Booth School of Business. As consulting partners and expert advisors in this initiative, LER Consultants and Advisors and DGW Consulting Group worked with a number of regional coalitions to support their talent strategy, including providing thought partnership on recruitment and hiring processes and developing robust pipelines of high caliber, diverse candidates to fill key roles. In addition to LER Consultants and Advisors and DGW Consulting Group, Bolster and Agility Consulting Practices also partnered with America Achieves on this initiative. You can learn more about Collective Impact Talent Initiative by going to catalyze.blog. Let me say that again, catalyzeblog.americaachieves.org/talent_initiative, or by emailing catalyze@americaachieves.org. In this series, LER Consultants and Advisors and DGW Consulting Group are excited to share with you some key insights and actionable tips on how to source, recruit, hire, and retain the diverse, high-quality talent you need in your organization and coalition. So let's hear a little bit more about how to retain top talent in your organization.
To kick us off, I'll throw it to Deronda to share number one.
Yeah, we've talked about this in some of our other series, but really building an organizational culture where people want to work. We talked about really being clear on your mission and vision, your core values, and ensuring that everyone understands what that culture is and that everyone is working towards building that strong organizational culture to help you both recruit and retain talent.
Yeah, culture is everything, and great organizations know this very well. And the other thing I think that really helps to solidify, really retaining the best talent in your organizations is when you are very clear on what your expectations are, What are the role clarity? What is it that I'm going to do in this job? What is it that is expected of me to work here? And setting some really key goals and opportunities to really meet on those goals, to understand them, to make sure that I'm hitting the targets for those goals, is really critical, as what we think are, retention strategies for organizations. How about number three, Deronda?
Yeah, I just want to build on what you just said. I completely agree. Like having clear goals is just so critical. But then also, I would say another bullet to think about is giving staff stretch opportunities. So they have their goals, they know what their job is, they know the scope of their role. Allow them to take on more and to really spread their wings, to see what else they're capable of doing. Empower them and create opportunities for them to really own their work and to venture into new areas that they're interested in.
I can't agree with you more. I think that stretching people allows them to actually learn something new. And so doing that really helps them to stay attuned to what they know, but also really grow and develop in their work. I think that another key strategy is to also empower your people. Decision making in organizations is sometimes, misunderstood, right? So everyone thinks that the top leader is the person who should be making decisions on behalf of everybody in the organization. That can be true, but then also, what are the other decisions that I can make in my role that allows me to feel empowered, that allows me to feel like I'm contributing to the organization? And I think to retain top talent, they need to, know that they have the ability to have an impact on the organization. And by having an impact, that means, while they might not be the leader, right? They have the ability to actually make some core and key decisions that are going to help move the project forward. And I find that when you don't do that and when you don't give the opportunity there, there can be a lag in the project actually moving to completion. There can actually be frustrations from the employee because they don't really have the ability to really be able to kind of push work forward, and they're just getting a little bit frustrated, and they're starting to kind of like wonder, like, why am I here? But if you're clear and you're really respect that talent that you brought in your organization in terms of what they can give, you can go so far. I know it.
I agree, Leslie. Another strategy is giving people recognition for a job well done. I can't stress
Like,
how how important that is to make people feel valued, to make sure that they know that their work, the work that they're doing, is being seen and recognized. And there are lots of ways you can do it. Formally, you do it through your performance evaluation system or in your monthly check-ins, but you can also do shout outs when you have a team meeting or an all staff meeting. You can just create opportunities to celebrate success of an individual or a team. So there are a lot of ways that you can recognize people for the work that they're doing. It's just important to really think about it and be intentional about it,
right.
so that people feel like they really are being seen. Their work is being seen.
I can't stress how important that is. And I've seen it done beautifully, and I've also seen it go overlooked. And you just want to retain your people. But I also want to point out something about recognition, which is top talent comes to work in organizations that have a clear culture. They have expectations, they have goals, and they want to meet them, and they want to work alongside people who are actually working towards their goals with clear expectations, really understanding the vision values of the organization. So, what happens when you have somebody on the team and they're just not pulling their weight and they're not doing the job that you want to do? as a leader in that organization or their manager, you can't afford for someone to underperform next to someone who's a high performer. So imagine you're giving lots of recognition and you're celebrating people, but that person sits on a team with somebody's not pulling their weight. The thing that's going to actually really impact them and frustrate them is they know that the person and people in the organization that aren't doing their job, they're carrying them, right? So as a leader, you have to address both. So sometimes we don't want to talk about that. Sometimes we want to wish it away. But I would say one of the biggest mistakes that we can make is not to address the low performer. The low performer should know, I'm not meeting expectation. We should have crystal clear conversations about that person. We should put those conversations in verbal communications in a one on one. We should put those communications in writing. We should follow up and check in to see if progression is being made. In some instances, that comes out to be a performance plan. Sometimes it winds up being that the person is just not the right fit for the role, and we have to figure out another role for that person. And sometimes that means we have to exit the person out of the organization. But if retention is your strategy and you want to make sure that you have strong people performing in your organization, not addressing the low performer is actually going to impact that top talent. And so don't ignore that one. That's one that you have to really, really be mindful of.
I completely agree, Leslie. I would say another strategy is provide opportunities for professional development and learning for your staff. Everyone wants to learn and grow. Many employees want to be promoted. So ensure that you are giving them those opportunities so that they can stay with your organization, either in their current role where you can expand the scope of their role, or they can have opportunities to be promoted.
I can't agree more. And I think that one of the things about that is consider when that person comes in your organization, do they want to be the subject matter expert as to in what they're doing, right? Or does your organization require that they're going to have to lead and manage other people? Those are things to really consider because sometimes people don't want to do the leading and managing. They just want to be a really great individual contributor. And perhaps your organization calls for that. But I think that the professional development and the learning opportunities will help really build the skill for people to be able to do those things in the organization. Finally, I think that really trying to drive up and pay attention to, right? Work life balance. What is it that I need to think about as an employer to make sure that I'm getting the very best out of the person that I've hired to come work in the organization? We don't want to be organizations where it's all work, right? And it's just there's no time to think about anything else other than the job. That means somehow something's going to get lost in translation, and you're going to face an employee who feels like they're burnt out. You're going to face an employee who feels like, maybe I need to look elsewhere because, this isn't letting up at all. As an employer, we have to really pay attention to the warning signs. Burnout leads to sickness and illness. It leads to people taking time off. It leads to people just feeling very frustrated and that they're not really accomplishing, both work and life at the same time. The best places to work are places where that's taken into consideration and that you've built a relationship with the employee so that they feel comfortable that they can stop what they're doing and turn to spend time, doing those outside activities or engaging with their family and loved ones in a way that doesn't compromise actually doing the work. And I believe that if you're able to really do that and provide that experience for them, work productivity will actually increase.
I completely agree. I would say there are some employees who are very clear and know what they need. They need to pick up their kid at 3 o'clock every day, or they need to have flexibility to go to doctor's appointments. And so there are some who are very clear and going to ask for what they need. There are others, you may have high performers who are just workaholics where you may have to say to them, you haven't taken any vacation. You're burning the midnight hour, which is not sustainable. So sometimes you have to step in and recognize that they are not even asking for work life
Right.
balance, but you want to make sure that you kind of reel them in so that they don't burn themselves out and then they're looking to leave the organization.
And
Yeah.
we know organizations actually, Deronda, where they shut off the email, right? They literally put in mandatory times. I mean, even for me, like I've put in mandatory times sometimes for staff to take the time off and they want to work anyway. We have to combat the burnout because I think that that just leads to things that we don't want to have to build these really strong organizations. So what we've talked about today is just talent retention strategies to retain people in your organization. You want to think about culture. You want to think about goals. You want to empower your people. You want to stretch them. You want to provide professional learning opportunities for them. You want to make sure that they feel empowered. You want to make sure that there is an opportunity for them to take a break so that they can really recharge. They can reflect on the work that they've done to really come up with new innovative ideas and really contribute in the most positive way. So this has been so great to really share all of these talent development practices with you. I want to thank you, Deronda, for joining for this time. We want to both really thank and shout out America Achieves.
Absolutely.
This work has just been so phenomenal for the both of us to be able to just really stretch ourselves to support organizations across the country and the work that they've done. We want to give a shout out to all of the partners that have done this work with America Achieves. We hope that you find what we have done and what we've shared as just these nuggets of wisdom to be vital to you as you think of your talent practice. And for more information, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to answer the call to support you. Have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today to hear about how to retain top talent in your organization. Our hope is that you'll take time to review the other segments in this series about sourcing, recruiting, hiring, and retaining diverse, high quality talent. We are excited to have partnered with America Achieves and the Collective Impact Talent Initiative, helping diverse, place based regional coalitions from across the country meet their talent needs. If you'd like to connect with myself or Deronda, feel free to reach out to us at LER Consultants and Advisors at Leslie at lerconsultants.com or Deronda Williams at dwilliams at dgwcg.com. You can also learn more about the Collective Impact Talent Initiative by going to catalyzeblog.americaachieves.org/talent_initiative or by emailing catalyze@americaachieves.org. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today. We hope you learned a lot and we look forward to being in touch.